What's going on, world? It's your boy, Derek Dunn, back with another interview for Reviews Dunn. Stay on the line. I have rising filmmaker, Mr. Bobby Huntley. And as fate would have it, I've actually known this brother for years, and we never knew that we knew each other, that we were in the same New Edition fan club until we just started talking one day and was like, that was you all those years ago? Like, yeah, that was me. So everybody welcome to the line, my man, the uberly talented Mr. Bobby Huntley. How you doing today, sir?
I'm awesome, sir. Thank you. How are you?
Blessed, man. I can't complain. You know, it's just good to chop it up with creative such as yourself, and just to see you grow from your humble beginnings to where you are now, man, that's a blessing for me. And, you know, it's cool to say that I know you and to see your growth and to see you living out your dream by your own wills and not conforming to somebody else's standards of what a filmmaker should be. So respect for that.
That's a word. Thank you. Thank you.
So first,
you for that. Yeah.
What is the first film that you can recall seeing in a movie theater and realizing that it was a career you wanted to pursue?
I don't think I have that story. Filmmaking just seemed like the natural next progression for me. I started in music when I was 5 or 6. You know, I would write music, and then my mom bought me a karaoke machine, and I learned how to, you know, with singing, I would learn how to overdub my voice, you know, and I also got a keyboard, and I would create, you know, beats and stuff like that. And so that was my first thing. And then, of course, you know, drawing, painting, dancing, performing, the whole thing. And it just seemed like just a random thing where I just asked my dad for my 10th birthday for a camera. Then he worked at Renter Center, and I got my camera, and it's just been pretty much, you know, on and popping ever since. It was, you know, just my new favorite toy, and I haven't really put it down since then, really. So that's pretty much how I started.
Where did you go to film school?
I went to film school at American Intercontinental University in Atlanta, Georgia. It wasn't Buckhead. Now it's in Dunwoody. And, I never really thought about college or anything before that. They came to my high school, and my mom talked me into it, which I'm very glad that she did. And I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college, you know, so that was a pretty awesome experience. And then I also went to Watkins in Nashville, Tennessee. And I got out in 2014. I only did 1 year there because my goal was to go to NYU for my master's. So I spent a year in Nashville while I waited to find out if I got into NYU. I did not get into NYU. And then I came back home to Atlanta and then just started my journey ever since then. You know, it was 2014.
One of your first shorts was 2009's Differences. What was the plot behind that one?
Wow, you really went to the crates for that one. I was still in film school, my first iteration at that time. And I was a part of a collective called Workaholics. And we've done, you know, a lot of stuff up to that point, but it was like a turning point where we were really starting to take things seriously and going into our senior year, I think. And so we just started producing these signature short films that were going to solidify us as filmmakers in the world of Atlanta. So I think with that one, I co-wrote with my collaborator at that time, who was a part of the Workaholics, Jason Rice. I think either he wrote it and we co-directed or something like that, but it was a very collaborative thing. And we just wanted to explore differences, you know, differences between race, differences between men and women, differences, you know, through society overall, and just to try to, you know, through the eyes of a young psychologist or psychiatrist, you know, and her frustrations with her patient, you know, to see, you know, the similarities within those differences. And, of course, it was very heavy-handed and preachy, But you get all that out in film school if you can. So that's what Differences was about.
Around 2015, your trailer for your take on the New Edition biopic starts making their way around the web. As a diehard fan like myself, you know the talks of the New Edition movie go all the way back to 1990, where the fellas were going to portray themselves as adults. What was your inspiration to get the ball rolling on your trailer?
Well, I mean, I guess you can attest to this. It's something I've always wanted to do. I was on the fan pages, putting it out into the universe that that's what I wanted to do. I think I was maybe, 12, 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there, talking about it. And I got out of film school. Well, before that, so my first time in film school, I was here in Atlanta. And I don't listen to the radio, but the radio happens to be on in my car. And BBD was at the station at B103. And so I turned the car around, went up there, got on the elevator. Elevator opened up. It was them. And I introduced myself, said, hey, I'm in film school, but one day I want to be the guy to direct your movie. And, it was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And it just kind of planted to see, instead of talking to them, and talking about it, I have to show them. And so, I finished school, and then when I went back into school, and I came out of school, and came out of school in 2014 from Nashville, came back to Atlanta, and that was my first time actually seeing New Edition when they did the All Six tour. And then I was like, I think I'm ready now. Not only do I think I'm ready now, I think the world is ready now. Seeing all six of them together on a stage, and, of course, getting older and stuff like that, I was so concerned about them being able to enjoy the moment all collectively together, all six of them, while they're young enough to, while they're fresh enough to, and while they're vibrant enough to, so that they could take advantage of these new generations and new fans coming on board. And that was my goal, and that was my plan. And so it took us about 4, maybe 5 months. We auditioned all over Atlanta, very quietly. Nobody knew what we were doing in terms of the talent. The actors didn't know until we selected the 6 of them and put them all into the room. We used false names and scenarios up to that point during the audition process. And taught them everything New Edition, learned choreography, studied the behind-the-scenes, interviews and behind the music and all this stuff. And, and we shot it. It took 4 or 5 months, and we put it out in March. We actually waited a month. We had a premiere party in Atlanta, which ironically was the night that they found Bobby Christina in the bathtub. So we were going to put it out, I believe, the next day. So, of course, we waited about 30 days. And we put it out in March of 2015, and, it changed my life ever since.
Was your vision for Any Heartbreak a miniseries or a theatrical release?
I believe my vision was a theatrical release, although a miniseries component was exciting for me. But what I wanted to go into, especially as, I started communicating with Bobby Brown's camp, they reached out to me to, do his movie. I was excited about doing a feature-length film in terms of having a certain grit, and no real limitations in terms of ratings and things like that, where we could really go in and be gritty and really tell the story. So that was what I was more so excited about. But then, of course, doing a miniseries, you have more time, more flexibility. So that would have been exciting, too, as well. It was just more so showing the world, the audience, that this story was worth being told. Because, I would talk to people and ask them, New Edition movie, what would you guys think? And they just didn't get it. Why would we want to see that? Why would we want to see Bobby Brown? What are you talking about? So it just showed me you have to show people what they want to see, because before that they won't really know. So I'm happy to know that I was definitely ahead of the curve with that.
Yeah, and even with the miniseries, us being fans, as classic and as good as it was, they left out so much. And they easily could have told the joint over 5 nights. And, you can attest to it also that, being fans, but also being film people, we kind of see it from a different standpoint. So I used to always say, ideally, for me, put that joint on Netflix. Make it like a 13-part Netflix series with 1-hour episodes, because they have so much story that, we don't even know about, that, stuff they didn't get into, stuff they could have got into. And, Mike even said it. Mike was like, we envisioned it originally as being like musical Roots, where it was a week-long thing because they have so much story. So speaking on visions, where would you start your version at, and where would you have ended it at?
All of it as much as I could. Of course, my trailer only mainly focused on 84 to 88, roughly, because, no budget. I did have a version where it was supposed to be from their inception to present day, but just selecting the 6 at their prime was a lot. So I could not imagine having to put myself through that, 3 times over. So, but it was more so showing what I could do and then positioning it to the world, and then also to the fellas, and then seeing what they would have wanted, and, what they would have came up with, and how we could have collaborated to create an experience that would be enjoyable for everybody. So I didn't really marry myself too much into what I would have wanted. I wanted to make sure I saved enough room for the fellas, to tell me what they wanted, so I wouldn't, be like, I think you should do this, and da-da-da-da-da. So honestly, I don't really recall thinking about it too much. It was just me more so trying to position myself for a job. The only time that I did have those kind of conversations were with Bobby Brown's wife, Alicia, who's also his manager. We talked extensively about what I would do with his story and how I would tell his story.
Following the positive reception you got from the Any Heartbreak trailer, you moved right back into doing shorts, starting with Louisiana in 1961. Your male lead for that was your friend and confidant, Brian Earl, whom you already had a working relationship with. But how did you end up working with Ashley John as your female lead?
That was just, a referral. I think I put some referrals out there, and she was, referred, and, she came through. I don't recall even having a proper audition. We just had a chemistry test, and she just knocked it out the park. Like, Ashley is hands down one of the coolest people on the earth. She's just so cool, laid back, funny. She's very goofy. She keeps me cracking up. We pick on each other all the time, but she's so about the work, the process. Like, I just love watching her work, how she could just channel into it. And she's one of my favorite people to work with, and I intend to keep her and Brian, together in my projects. They're my Ozzie Davis, Ruby D, combo. People love seeing them together. I'm wrapping up a project, hopefully really soon with them, that will reintroduce the world to them on a much grander, bigger scale, and their chemistry is immaculate together.
Yeah, I know Brian from just, being Facebook friends with him, and then, of course, the trailers you made, but he just has that natural grittiness to him, and not in a negative way, but just someone that you just want to watch on screen, and it can probably command his presence when you're watching him. He just has a natural, domineering screen presence. Just natural, like just a naturally talented black actor. Like, it's natural.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
he
Brian gets the world what he can do.
Yeah, he definitely has that it factor. I just have to keep him close because it has to be in the right hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be cultivated, it has to be shaped, it has to be molded. So with directors, don't take that lightly. You have the power to make stars. You have the power to create stars with these moments and these gifts that you give them to, jump into and create these characters and stuff. So you really have to take the time to know your actors, know their strengths, know their weaknesses, build that trust. It's about trust. You have to build that trust with your actors. I can't work with actors if they don't trust me. They have to trust my vision and the story and the characters that, so that once we get onto the camera, on set, in front of the camera, it's playtime because we've already worked out all the kinks, worked out all the work and the rehearsals. We do a lot of rehearsals. I love to rehearse a lot. Go through every scenario, give them space and room to play. So by the time we're on set, they know the characters backwards and forwards, in and out.
And just to kind of go off track really quick with black actors, in Brian's case, for me as a public, just kind of knowing how Hollywood works and everything, if Brian were to become successful like right away, in something maybe like a hood flick, more than likely they would only send him scripts for hood-related movies. But like, nah, this brother can do more than that, because the way he acted in Louisiana in 1961 compared to how he was as Bobby Brown, totally different. And that, piggybacks off what you just said, as a director, his strengths, his weaknesses, what he's capable of. And he's more than just, a one-trick pony, which too often befalls our black talent in Hollywood. So 2017 brings the debut of your feature, Charlie. Did writer Nikki Wade approach you with the concept?
No, I had the concept. I knew I wanted to create something, especially coming from, New Edition and Louisiana. I wanted to create something that was women-centered and focused. And I knew that I wanted to create a world that was different. I was heavily inspired by a French film called Amélie, which is very mystical and whimsical, lighthearted and fun, and a bit colorful. And I was like, well, why can't we have that with some black girls in Atlanta? And then, of course, around the time of creating this and Louisiana at the same time, Prince passed away, and I'm a huge New Edition fan. I'm a huge Prince fan, and so is Nikki. And so I brought the idea to her, like, okay, I see these black women, this girl named Charlie. I see this world where it's present day, but it feels 80s New York, like a Spike Lee movie. I want a little bit of Madonna. I want a little bit of Prince. I want to mix it all up into this gumbo. And then, she incorporated, her elements in there as well. We're both from Seattle, Washington, so that has its own unique kind of quirkiness to it. And we, created the story of Charlie together. She put her elements in there. I put my elements in there. My elements came from, a mixed family of having, step siblings and half siblings, and just trying to keep people, everyone together, and, the love, how people came into the world may not have been perfect or ideal, but, you have to have that responsibility with, your family to try to keep everyone together. And Nikki brought in elements in terms of, the sickle cell, angle. She's had some loved ones afflicted with that particular disease, and there's many other things as well. So we just mixed it all together into a pot, and that's how Charlie came together.
How long was the shooting schedule for Charlie, and how was it traveling on the festival circuit all across the U.S.?
I think, if I can recall, it was like 12 days, give or take a day or two. We could only shoot on weekends, so I guess it's 2-3 months maybe. Because people have to work, so we could only shoot on weekends. And I took it out on the road officially, I think, the fall of 2017. I was on the road pretty much for 2 years. I wanted to hit as many festivals as I can. But the main point was I wanted to hit the black markets, the Detroits, of course, the New York, L.A., Houston, all the different key cities, Seattle with certain black demographic, and just made sure that the story resonated with audiences in all these different places. And I had them fill out questionnaires and everything, and made adjustments to the film when needed. Fortunately, we didn't have to adjust too much. And I just wanted to make sure that before I put it on a large platform and on a large scale, that it reigned true and authentic to our intended audience. And I'm happy that I did that. So it let us know that we were on the right track and we had something special.
Following Charlie, you returned to shorts. And up first was Nana's Roxy's Revenge, which focused on the Roxanne Wars. Did the actors write the rhymes that were in the film?
Did the what?
Did the actors write the rhymes that you had in the film?
No. I wrote with my sister Tangi, who also used to rhyme back in the day. I needed that help. And, we just put it together and we rehearsed it. Miss Denise Armstrong, she's one of my most favorite people in the world. She is a godsend and very spiritual and just amazing person to know. And I wanted to work with her for Charlie, but she turned me down. And fortunately, she said yes to this project, and I'm so happy that she did. We had such an amazing time. And the crazy thing about it was just mainly a statement piece, a short film, just something to show a bit more of my creativity and what I could do. But for some reason, there's been so much love and excitement surrounding this project, especially when I'm in LA. I get asked to turn this project into a feature film all the time. So I am starting, along with Louisiana 1961 and a couple of more of my projects, I'm developing them into a feature film today. So that might be something that we might be able to do within the next couple of years, hopefully.
All right, so I got to ask, since you mentioned that, my brother, what about the Class of '88? I think you showed me some stills from that one, just in our conversations off record.
Class of '88? What was Class of '88?
That's the joint you have. It was like a college camp. There was a love story, and it kind of had the feel of like Love and Basketball. I might have got the title wrong, but you sent me some like.
Oh, well, no, that was Free Charlie. So there was the backstories and the scenes of Charlie's mom and dad. So the whole backstory of the mom and dad, they were together, they were high school sweethearts, but the dad, which was the son, the son. The dad was the son of a preacher, and the preacher did not like the fact that he was with Charlie's mom, who he deemed too worldly. He wants him to settle down with a nice church girl. So he leaves her, but unbeknownst to him, she was pregnant with Charlie at that time, but she didn't really tell him. So by the time he goes off to Bible school or college or whatever, comes back, he's married with another young lady and has a young baby who was Charlie's half-sister. So that's pretty much, it was just the beginning of that story. So that part of the Charlie film. And so we needed those pictures because, the yearbook is one of the main plot points of the film. Charlie finds her mother's yearbook because Charlie's mother died when she was young. And so she didn't really know her mother because her mother kind of had a mental breakdown and just tuned out completely. So the mother saw Charlie as her heartbreak because the love of her life left her with this baby. So Charlie's grandmother actually raised Charlie. I know a lot of names. But so the mother dies pretty early on, and the half-sister has Charlie find her mother's yearbook. And those pictures that I sent you were in the yearbook. So we actually had to print it up and print it out. So it was Class of 1988 or something like that. So, yeah, it was all a part of the Charlie movie. It's all in the Charlie movie.
Yeah, I was excited for a minute, man, because I knew the soundtrack would be killing it. And as with your affinity for finding, I don't know how you do it, but y'all, man, this cat, my man Bobby, can go online and find a Mr. T cereal box from 1984 in mint condition. So this is one cat that pays attention to detail when it comes to having the time period and everything right for that period. So respect for that. And one of the things that I most respect about you is your affinity for pop culture. Auntie was a very, very fun short. Do you think everyone will pick up on the Judy Winslow joke in the movie?
That was really tough. I could not figure out how to get people to tap into that. I mean, I was thinking, should they have like their names written on their shirt or some sort of something? So it was too tough for me to figure out. So more than likely not. But when I tell them, it just opens up more layers. So it's more fun for me to just tell them, and they're like, "Whoa!" So I wish that there was a way for it could have been more baked into the actual scene itself. But yeah, having Judy Winslow represented, Harriet Winslow represented, even Becky from Roseanne's show, and even the original actress that was on My Wife and Kids, who played the older daughter who was replaced. I had all of them represented in the scene. Mm-hmm. And,
a lot of folks forget that, man, because you don't.
Yeah.
It was another actor before Jennifer Freeman came on the show. Because if you remember correctly, on My Wife and Kids, the first Claire, she wasn't an airhead.
Yeah, Claire.
She was actually very woke and very smart. And then when Jennifer Freeman came on, they kind of dumbed the character down and made Claire an airhead. Anyway. All right, so you recently released the PSA, Corona Man, Stay at Home, which had the same feel of the Jordan Peele-produced Candyman remake trailer. Was that your original intent when you made the PSA?
Was that the what?
Your original intent was to go for the Candyman feel.
Oh, for sure, yeah. So, I mean, Jordan Peele single-handedly got me into the horror genre. And so with Auntie, that was me dipping my toe in. And with Corona Man, that's me putting my foot in. And then now I'm developing an original feature-length film. That's me sinking my whole body into the horror thriller film genre. And I'm very excited about that. And because of the success of Corona Man, I have a couple of producers involved who are excited about my new project, my new horror film. And we're at the beginning stages of developing it now. So you guys will hear about it very soon, and I'm very excited about it. And I hope to make Mr. Jordan Peele and everyone at Monkey Paw proud, because if it wouldn't have been for him and what he's done for the black people in the horror thriller genre, I probably wouldn't have entered into this space.
From a filmmaking standpoint, what have you found to be the most difficult type of shot to pull off as a director?
Difficult kind of shot. I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, just for me, it's just. Go ahead.
Nah, I had to throw you a curveball really quick. Because I'm deep into film, and I like hearing about the whole process and knowing that how talented you are. Just wanted to see what the most shots you would say is most difficult to pull off. Like I heard Singleton say one time that he always had trouble doing subjective camera, where the camera, you don't see the talent's face, but they're looking at what's going on around them, but you never show the actor's face in the entire shot. You just see them looking around what's going on around them. So, Singleton said that was always tough to pull off.
Okay. Well, I'm not too in love with cutaways. I never really. They feel cheap to me. Not insert shots. I mean, insert shots are important, so that's how what they're looking at. But just random cutaways, just get a shot of this, get a shot of the trees, get a shot of that. It just seems kind of gratuitous to me. So I never really do them. I have to be kind of forced to get them by my DP. But but on a much wider, grander scale, with the project that I'm hoping to wrap up now, Connect, which stars Brian Earl and Ashley John, I've taken, it's been almost 2 years since we started filming. There's been several scenes that we shot at least 2 or 3 times over. There's one scene that we're about to shoot for the 5th time. I'm a bit of perfectionist. I mean, not blindly, but, it's real important that, everything's done right and done correctly. But, I'm a stickler for camera movement, camera angle, the choreography in the scene, the blocking, the pacing. Everything has to be right. And it's just one of these scenes where it's like so many elements involved that I can't afford to have it go wrong in any way. So I can definitely understand how painful it can be. You're trying to chase this vision that you have in your head. And so hopefully 5th time will be the charm, because I am about tired of this scene. But, we'll get it done because, we have deadlines and things, and Corona slowed us down a bit. But hopefully soon it'll be safe enough for us to finish our film. We only have 1 day left. So we're figuring that out right now as we speak. So hopefully it'll be out by the summertime or early fall.
Ryan Coogler approaches you to serve as co-editor on the Black Panther sequel. While talking to Ryan, the Hughes brothers knock on your door and inform you that they've been hired to direct a Star Wars spinoff focusing on Mace Windu, and they want you to co-write the script. Which franchise are you going to pick?
Neither.
Respect, man, for...
Yeah, I'm a director, so I wouldn't want to put myself into any position where I'm not directing. Although I did edit professionally. That's not what my focus is. So I'm very careful about doing that again professionally, because I don't want to be painted into that corner again. So I mean, of course, I would be honored and try to parlay that into other opportunities, but I wouldn't want to do any of those things because I'm the director, and that's where my focus is.
Who are your current top 3 '90s artists most deserving of a biopic?
One of them I'm working with right now, so I can't speak on that yet. Woo, this is actually a tough question. Of course, Mary J. Blige. And I'm stumped. That was a good one. I wish you had me prepared for that one. I'm really stumped. I'm kind of intrigued by a semi-fictional story of someone who didn't quite make it or was on the cusp of making it, but had to go through so much and that they just couldn't get over and that they didn't make it. That's what I'm very intrigued about. And I'm actually developing a story in that vein as well, where they just don't make it. I think that would be interesting to see. Whether it be on the cusp or they just got to the point where they could make it and cross over and then something tragic happens, I think that would be an interesting story to see.
Yeah, well, you know me, man. I'm big on biopics, so I go back and forth, but I think my top 3 who I think deserve a biopic, definitely just knowing the history and what they went through, and the piggyback of what you were saying about the cuffs really blowing up. I'm going to say Phyllis Hyman, High Five, and from a hip-hop standpoint, probably hip-hop-wise, P. Definitely Master P. We always hear about P doing his story, but it never comes to fruition. Yeah, P definitely has a story that can be told about an underdog making it and just being a black millionaire and how he did it and everything that he did for his state to get to where he got to now. What advice do you have for aspiring young filmmakers?
Have something to say in your work, have a point of view, have a voice. And always continue working. Don't look to try to become famous or viral or anything overnight. Sometimes it's about, most times, more times than not, it's about the consistency in your work, how many times you can create great content. That's what you have to, work into. And then you have to have that honest conversation with yourself to say, am I willing to put my head down and focus strictly on the work for the next 5 to 7 years without so much as seeing a paycheck or getting accolades and admiration? Do I love this enough to put my life on hold for the next 5 to 7 years to make this happen? If you do, then be prepared for that and get to work. If not, then I highly recommend you do something else. You have to be really honest with yourself.
Is there anything you'd like to add? And where can your fans find you on social media?
No, I just want to thank everybody for the love and support. Keep a lookout, keep an eye out. We have more things coming down the pipeline. You could follow me on my social media, B. Huntley Films, and on Facebook, on Bobby Huntley Films. And, look forward to seeing all y'all soon, hopefully. Everybody stay safe, stay home, and stay healthy.
All right, folks, you've heard my latest guest, my friend, my ace, longtime New Edition fan that I've known since before he could legally drive, my man Bobby Huntley, going all the way back to 2005 probably, when I was still in the Air Force. As today's guest, his brother is doing major things. He's always been real with me, always taking time to reply to a text or reply to a Facebook question when he was really making noise with doing Edition Biopic. And I highly urge you guys to support this brother's work, because he's going to give you 100% every time. And you'll never see Bobby giving you negative images of black people. He's telling the stories he wants to tell and the stories we want to see. So, like I always say, support what you want to see. And Mr. Huntley is a prime example of doing that. This has been Derek Dunn with another interview for Reviews Dunn. And always remember, the path to success is to take massive, determined action. Done. Out. Until the next time.